Hello, hello. It's time for another weekly review. Today oh, nope. You know what? I just noticed I should probably change the date on here. That would probably be helpful. It is 6/1/25. Yay, I did it. All right, let's move on to Premiere, see what we got going here. Overall, I think we did a pretty solid job of catching everything. We're just going to go over some stuff in Section A and Section B for the worship spots. We're going to start at 447. Camera 4. All right, so this is Dan right here. That's his name. I called him Dan because that's his name. Well, let's get rid of that. And then this is a great shot. What would be even better is if we could pull back just a little bit so we can see what he's hitting down here. Maybe we can see the snare a little bit more. Otherwise, it's a great shot. 610. Camera 4. Yeah, so the same idea here. This is a solid shot of Noah concentrating real hard. But if we could pull back just a tiny bit, or maybe even get a little bit higher and point down so we can see what he's doing. Right now we can just see the top of the cajon, and we don't know what it is. And if you're not familiar with any musical instruments, you're just kind of gonna your brain's gonna wonder, oh, is he just hitting, like, is he sitting on a countertop and hitting it? So we want to know what he's playing. 634. Camera 3. All right. This is also another solid shot of Noah. But again, we can't tell what he's playing. We can just see him sitting there and tapping his hands. So we're not totally sure what he's doing. We need to know what he's doing. And again, we could, if there was a way we could get like on a chair or something, and maybe, nope. Chairs aren't OSHA approved. Maybe we should find some more stepping stools we can use and see if we can get some shots a little bit higher and downward, so we can get shots like that. Before I move on, I forgot to say, none of this is meant to be harsh. None of this is meant to call anyone out. None of this is meant to be hurtful. It's all meant to be helpful, and we're trying to figure out how to get the best product we can to further the kingdom. And with that, we'll continue. All right, so 656 is the last one I have here. 56. And that is camera 2. Yep. All right, so right now, I remember this part now. Jeremiah is out of focus. And I can't necessarily, we might be focused right here on his hand instead of his face. And because the aperture is set pretty thin, we might be focused here, or we might be focused on another part of the mic stand here, and his face is blurry. The face is always the most important. Yeah, so make sure the face is in focus. So always shoot for the face or the chest if it's easier for you to get that. All right. Let's move on to section C. My dad always used to say, "I see," says the blind man. I never understood why. 1755. There's Emma. She's right there. Camera 3. This is a solid shot. I really like this shot right here. Maybe slightly too much of a haircut, but other than that, this, like, we got a nice perspective on his guitar. We can see the whole thing, almost the entire thing, with just a little bit cut off, which is totally fine in this context. But then we got Noah and we got Josh in the background. Everything, like all the negative space, with the exception of this, but that's not the camera's fault. But there's very little negative space. Everything feels like there's something in the frame. 1858. Camera 3. So, all right. So we're still on David. It'd be great if we could move on to a different mark. Maybe go over here to Josh, get some of him, or maybe get Noah from this side a little bit more again, or maybe even get step to the right, maybe get Jeremiah a little bit over here. Oh, another thing I noticed is that the slider is a little blurry. It looks like we might be focused on the back row instead of the front row. We should probably make sure that the front row is the one in focus for future reference. 23. No. 22, 27. All right, yeah. All right, so 22, 27. So right here at 22, 27, let's take a look right here at these guys right here. 1, 2, 3. At this point right now, I have one shot, and it's the slider. So we end up on the slider for a little while, because this camera 2 is moving. Camera 4 is moving, and camera 3 has Jeremiah taking a gulp and wiping his nose, which is not the best look. And I had to use the wide shot, so we got all that in wide mode instead of up front. And that's all I had at that point. So one thing we want to make sure that we're doing is that before we move, we need to look up. Look up and look at your fellow camera people. Are they moving? And if somebody is moving, don't move. Stay where you are. And this could easily be also. I mean, this could be a case of, it looks like that one person's on. It might have looked like the worship leader cam was set, and then well, I mean, that could easily be it for sure. But this camera 2 is still moving a little bit while this is going, so we didn't have that, and I didn't have that. So if you okay, so if we see, can't believe I'm saying this out loud. If we see a singer taking a big old gulp and then wiping his nose, probably don't get that shot. I'll leave it there. I mean, it is pretty funny. All right. 2509. Oh, I went way too far. I'm in the wrong doohickey. All right. 2509. All right, yeah. Camera 3. Let's take a look here. This is a cool shot of Josh. I wish he was just in it a little bit more. So if we had moved him over to... Oh, come on. You're going to be like that? So if we moved him over here, we got more of him, and then maybe get a little bit more of his head. Right now it looks... So the haircut is something you need to do in moderation. So this is probably a little bit too much because he cut out like most of his hair and some of his head. So some of his forehead, which looks a little bit awkward, but otherwise this is a really cool shot and I like it. I like that we're getting rid of some of that negative space that we just can't seem to get rid of. And that, again, the negative space often is not the camera operator's fault. All right, let's 2613. Or no, 2547. All right. Camera 3, love that you punched in right here during this. Because we went to the bridge and it was just nice and soft. And just, it's really great seeing how just pushing in because it's kind of a more intimate part of the song. And that's exactly what we're looking for. I also love that during this section, we punched in on the keys here to get the same effect. And it adds, it just feels like you're almost, it's almost like you're asking the viewer to kind of lean in and listen to the softer parts of the song. I love it. 2613. Oh yeah, I remember this. Okay, so right here on David's guitar, I love this shot right here. This is the exact kind of guitar close-up shot we need to be doing. And then I just wish it stayed there a little bit longer so we could have a little bit more of it. 2704. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so camera 3, you're doing a great job. But I think we've been on David a little bit too long. I think the majority of the... Yeah, David... I'll Jeremiah for a little bit. We got a lot of David. Oh, there we go. Move a little bit. I think the only suggestion I have right at this point is maybe move a little bit more often. Whoever camera 3 was. 2759. Okay. So yeah, just a little bit too much of a haircut on this one. On camera 3 here. Cool shot though. I like it. Yeah. And then 2832. All right, so camera 2 here. We're already on it. This is a good shot. We need maybe to pull out just a little bit more. So we either need to cut the hair off or give him just a little bit more headroom. So the headroom, So it's just a little bit high. You can see right there, these aren't exact, but generally correct. We want the eye line to be generally where the center is for a well-composed shot. And this shot is about 90% well-composed. He's in the center because he's talking directly to the camera, but we just need him to come, just a tiny bit more headroom. So we would want him to be maybe about right there. It doesn't need to be a ton more headroom, just a little bit more. So like maybe just one of his eyes in there, or a little bit closer. It feels a little bit, just a little bit of his hair is sticking out of the frame, and that feels just a little bit awkward. Otherwise, this is a great shot. And maybe, yeah, I mean, just punching out just a little bit would be probably applicable in this situation. But other than that, it was great. But I think that is all I have for this week's video critique. Thank you so much, everybody, for all your work. Thank you for those that stepped in at the last minute. Thank you so much for all the work you guys do and the willingness to come hang out with us. We really do appreciate you. We love you. We are honored to be working with you, and we couldn't do this without you. Thanks, guys. You are awesome.